The day has finally come. Today I am going to be reorganizing and decluttering all of my foundations and concealers. We got a lot to get through.
One step forward, two steps backwards, yeah. In much shorter lover, we don't use big.
Honestly, I'm really excited that you guys love my last declutter video. I actually created a declutter playlist, so if you guys want to check out that last video where I decluttered all of my eyeshadow palettes, I'm gonna link it right up here in the cards. I really love that video because I did have 2 drawers of eyeshadow palettes that were overflowing, and I really narrowed it down to 1 drawer, which definitely makes for a more curated eyeshadow palette collection. And I really want to do that with all of my other products. So today we're gonna dive headfirst into all of my concealers and foundations. I do have this drawer right here that is filled with high-end and affordable products. So we're gonna unpack everything and figure out what I want and what I don't want. The first foundation I see in here is by Dior. This is the Dior Forever Skin Glow Foundation. I recently did pick this up during the Sephora sale, so it is a foundation I am gonna keep in my collection. I have mine here in the shade 2.5N, which is just a smidge too dark for me, but since summer is coming up, I am gonna keep this around and keep it in my collection. I do love that it comes with a pump. It claims to have 24-hour radiant wear, and it does have a pretty strong fragrance to it, but honestly, that's nothing new for a luxury product like Dior. But like I said, I'm gonna keep it in my collection just because I do want to continue wearing it and using it. Stay tuned for like a 6-in-1 foundation review because that foundation is gonna be one of them. Another product I see in here is by Dior. This is the Dior Forever Skin Crack Concealer. I actually purchased this as a backup concealer, and after looking at all the other products I have in this drawer, I probably didn't need to get a backup of this, but this is my holy grail favorite concealer. This one here is in the shade 1N, so of course I'm gonna keep it because I did recently just pick this up during the sale. A concealer I'm for sure gonna get rid of though is this one here by Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer. I feel like I heard so many great things about this when it initially came out, which really drove me to want to buy it and purchase it. But once I brought it home and I started testing it out, I just wasn't the biggest fan. I did pick mine up here in the shade 4.5 Fair. I will say that I think the color that I chose isn't the best color for me. It's super duper light, but I'm also not the biggest fan of the overall consistency. It just looks more like a thick whipped concealer. It doesn't really look the best underneath my eyes, and again, it's not really my favorite Charlotte Tilbury formula. Plus the wand's super thin and flimsy. I feel like they really skimped out on the wand. I just haven't been reaching for it. I know I don't like it, so I'm not even gonna keep it in my drawer. I'm just gonna get rid of it. A concealer I'm gonna keep though is this one here by Armani Beauty. I actually really like this one. It definitely is a medium to buildable coverage concealer. It looks really beautiful underneath the eyes. The formula, it's fluid, it's not too thick, and it blends very easily. I also am a huge fan of the wand. Look how that sits on the skin. This compared to the one from Charlotte Tilbury is just thinner in consistency, but don't get it twisted. It still covers very, very well. If you guys are curious, I do have the shade 4.75. I wanna say I also have the shade 4 in here. So if I find it, I'm also keeping that. Since we're already on the topic of Armani Beauty, I'm also going to be keeping these 2 by Armani. I really love the Luminous Silk Foundation. If you guys have not tried this, I definitely recommend getting your hand on it. It is such a beautiful formula. Is it pricey? Absolutely, but I feel like it is very much worth the price point. It's medium to buildable coverage. It looks so incredibly beautiful on the skin. I feel like if I was gonna reach for a foundation on my wedding day, this would probably be it. I have several shades because I wear it all year round, spring, summer, winter, you name it. I have the shade 5.75 and I also have 5.5. I also want to say I have 4.5 in my everyday makeup bag. So these are very much staying in my collection. Another foundation I'm keeping is this one here by Maybelline. This is the Matte and Poreless Foundation. If you've been riding with me for a minute, then you know this is my holy grail foundation. It's a foundation that I know, love, and would really recommend a million times over from within the drugstore. If you are my shade Twinsy, the shade I do wear in this foundation is 220 Natural Beige. I'm not sure if this is gonna match me within the summer. We'll see, but this is is typically my shade. The only thing I will say about this foundation is that it does not come with a pump. I really wish it came with a pump, but it's something I've really been able to live with all these years. It does not change how incredible the overall formulation of this product is, and for that reason, it's staying in my collection. Now I know what you're thinking. I'm definitely keeping a lot of base products so far, so let's actually get into some products that I know I'm for sure going to be getting rid of. One of which is this one here by Summer Fridays. This is the Sheer Skin Tint. This is a very light coverage skin tint. It doesn't provide the skin with really much coverage at all. I feel like I really love this during those months when my son was very, very small and I wasn't really wearing a ton of makeup, but I still just wanted to look put together. I have the shade 3, but I'm not gonna lie, I haven't reached for this in literally months, so I'm gonna get rid of it. It definitely needs a better home, so I'm just going to pass it along, maybe to my sister or my mom, whoever wants it, because it still is very much good. It's just not something I'm reaching for currently. Another product I am definitely going to get rid of is this one here by Maybelline. This is the Age Rewind 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. I do really like this. I feel like when I put it on my skin, it looked really pretty and glowy and dewy, but I just find that I have other products within this drawer that I like a little bit better, so that's why I'm getting rid of it. I have the shade Light. Another thing I'm not the biggest fan of is this applicator here, because I do have very acne prone skin. I just feel like this isn't really sanitary. It's not really what I should be putting on my face, so I'm going to actually trash this. I'm also going to get rid of this foundation here. This is the Lancome Teint Idol Ultra Wear Care and Glow Foundation. And the only reason I'm getting rid of this is because I don't find that this is my best shade. I have the shade 230W. I did review this in a little mini YouTube short, so if you missed it, I'll link it right up here in the cards. It's beautiful on the skin. It gives great coverage and it looks really pretty and fresh. Again, the only reason I'm getting rid of this is because the shade just doesn't match me. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the Lancome Teint Idol foundations, they definitely oxidize quite a bit. So sometimes I do find it a little difficult to find my perfect shade. A foundation I'm gonna keep for sure that I really love is this one here by NARS. I just really love NARS foundations in general. This is the Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. I do have mine here in the shade Punjab. This is definitely more of a summer shade for me. So of course, summer is coming up. I'm gonna keep this around. I will say I probably don't have that much left of it now that I'm actually looking at the bottle. So I may even put this to the side and use it in like a project pan or something like that. Do not ask me why I have 3 of the NARS light reflecting foundations. I really have no answers, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this is very wasteful. I do know I love the formula. I just feel like in the beginning, I was really going back and forth between shades. So I'm gonna show you all 3 shades that I do have within this formula. I have the shade Fiji, Punjab, and Santa Fe. Fiji is like my perfect shade during the winter months, but I feel like Punjab is my better shade for the summer. So I'm gonna get rid of Santa Fe just because I know that this is gonna be way too dark for me. And I'm gonna keep Fiji and Punjab. I know I am keeping the Punjab in the Natural Radiant Foundation, but like I said, I feel like I'm almost out of it now that I'm looking at it in the jar. So I gotta keep them. I know what I like. I'm a creature of habit. I always go back to what I know. I have 2 of the Fenty Eavesdrop. I have the shade 8 and 9. 9 is way too dark for me. I'm gonna keep the shade 8. I do really love this for a day to day. Since I am getting rid of the one from Summer Fridays, I just want something that's super quick and easy to toss on. I have 2 concealers here by e.l.f., the Hydrating Camo and the Original Camo. I really loved the original one for so long, but I found that it was just a little bit too full coverage and a little too drying underneath my eyes, so I started to mix in the hydrating, but I find right now in this moment, I do prefer hydrating all on its own, so I'm gonna get rid of the original and I'm gonna keep the hydrating one, which is more of a satin finish in the shade Light Sand. Another foundation I'm gonna get rid of is this one here by Rare Beauty. This is the Rare Beauty Positive Light Tinted Moisturizer. I wanna say I haven't used this since I initially tried it out. It's just way too dark for me personally. The shade I have here is 30N, so I'm gonna give this a new home. I have 2 of the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid liquid filters. I have one in the shade Fair and the other one in the shade Fair Light. I'm gonna keep Fair and I'm just gonna get rid of Fair Light just because it's brand new. I haven't opened it and I have so much left of this one here, so I don't wanna be too wasteful. Another product I'm gonna get rid of is this one here by MAC. I originally picked this up because I wanted something for day to day, but I'm not gonna lie, it just doesn't look the best on my skin personally. It definitely has a very lightweight feel to it, very reminiscent of like a skin tint or a tinted moisturizer. It's just not a product that I felt worked out for me, so for that reason, I'm just gonna let it go. I also have 2 of the e.l.f. Camo CC creams. I really love this formula. I remember when it came out, I did like a full-blown review and comparison video to the IT Cosmetics CC cream, and I really enjoyed the one from e.l.f. I do have 2 shades though. I have the shade Light 240W and Light 280N. I'm gonna let go of Light 280N. I just don't find that this is my best shade. It is a little too dark. I find that this one here in 240N is like my perfect match. So I definitely want to keep things in my collection that I know I'm going to wear. A product I know I'm not going to wear because I haven't reached for it since I got it is this one here by MAC. This is the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation. This is such a throwback product. I have the shade NC35, which is like orange on my skin. I don't know what I was thinking. I may have been self-tan when I bought this, but I know I'm not really going to be this tan in a while, so I'm going to let it go. Love the formula though. If you guys remember MAC Studio Fix, like it definitely was my jam. I do have 2 of the Urban Decay Naked Quickie Concealers, which is a fairly new launch. I love that it comes with a little brush here so you could easily buff and blend out the concealer. I love how thick the wand is and the formula is really good. Again, I'm not sure why I have 2 shades. This one is brand new, so I'm gonna let this one go and I'm gonna keep the shade 30 CP. A concealer I'm gonna get rid of is this one here by Benefit. This is the Boing Cakeless Concealer in the shade number 4. I'm gonna be real, I kind of forgot this was in here. I don't reach for it. Plus, I think the shade is just a little too dark for concealer for me personally. So I'm just gonna give that a different home. A foundation I'm gonna keep though is this one here by NYX. This is the Born to Glow Naturally Radiant Foundation. And the reason I'm keeping this is because I did hear it was being discontinued by Taylor Wynn. So I'm gonna use whatever I have left of this. It's not really that much. It's just such a gorgeous and beautiful foundation on the skin. It looks really pretty, radiant and natural, but it still gives you full on coverage. I'm actually really sad. Like, why would they get rid of this? It probably was one of the better foundations that they carried. A foundation I just wasn't the biggest fan of is this one here. It's actually a tint foundation, like a blurring tint foundation. I don't know what it was with this product, but when I put it on the skin, it was very thick and then it kind of got lighter the more and more I blended it out. I also found that this really just clung on to all of my dry patches and it just did not look the best. I do have another Lancome Tidal Ultra Wear Foundation. This is the original formula though. This is in the shade 230W, which I do find is like the same shade, but it just looks a little bit better. I'm not entirely sure what it is about the formula of the Care and Glow, but I just find that it looks a little different. It may be because it has sunscreen in it. I do want to keep this, but they did just recently send me 2 fresh bottles of this, so I'm actually just going to gift this to my mom or my sister. Another product I'm just going to get rid of because it's been in here for a while is this stick foundation by Huda Beauty. This is in the shade Toasted Coconut. If you guys have not tried this stick foundation formula, it is gorgeous on the skin. But again, whenever it comes to stick products, I don't like to keep them in my collection too long because bacteria starts to grow on it and then it just creates a whole mess of problems. I've had this in here for a while, so I'm just gonna toss it, but this is definitely one of my favorite cream stick foundation formulas. It is just that good. Another product I'm gonna get rid of is this one here by Smashbox. This is the Halo Healthy Glow All-in-One Tinted Moisturizer. The reason I'm gonna get rid of this is because I do find that it looks a little orange on my skin. I'm actually gonna try to squeeze a little bit out, but I just find that whenever I put it on, it just doesn't look the best. You can definitely see it definitely looks like orange on my skin. yeah, I'm gonna try to play around with other colors, but I just know this isn't gonna work for me, which is why I really haven't been reaching for it a ton. A foundation that I have in here that I'm kind of shocked is still in here is this here by Pat McGrath. I remember when I first picked this up, I did really like it. It looked really pretty on the skin, but it's honestly been years since I last reached for this. I have the shade light medium. I definitely want to try it out just to kind of refresh my memory to see if I still like it or if I like it enough to want to repurchase it. Trust me when I tell you though, I'm not going to be purchasing any foundations anytime soon because I just have way too much in my collection. So I'm going to keep this just because I do want to test it out maybe in a couple days to see how I feel about it. If I like it, I'll probably still trash it because it is very much expired. A foundation that I am going to get rid of as well is this here. This is by Ilia. This is actually not a foundation. It is a skin tint. It's the Super Serum Skin Tint with niacinamide, squalene, and hyaluronic acid. This is such a beautiful product on the skin. I'm completely out of it. I do hate the overall packaging. I feel like they can do so much better with this, but it's gorgeous on the skin. This is like my day-to-day product. I use it every single day, so it is something I'm gonna put on my repurchase list once I'm back to buying makeup again, but girl, that ain't no time soon. Now, don't get me wrong, I really love a good CC cream or just an everyday product, but I'm not entirely sure if you know this, but if you look really closely at the IT Cosmetics packaging, they actually have expiration dates right here at the top. So this expires in August of this year. So it's not yet expired, but I know myself, I'm not gonna possibly go through this entire tube when I already have the Camo CC cream by e.l.f. On top of that, I do have the Nude Glow foundation already in my everyday makeup bag. So I'm gonna give this one a new home, even though I really love the formula. A foundation I'm gonna keep is this one here by Makeup by Mario. I really love this formula. I did go to an event with them. I have the shade 6W, and the team, everyone from Makeup by Mario himself was just very, very sweet. I think he did a killer job with this formula. I feel like everybody is talking about like the shimmer that you see within the glass bottle. Honestly, you don't really see any of that on the face. It's such a beautiful and skin-like formula. If you really want something that's going to give you that glow, like definitely check this one out. It's also very long wearing in my opinion. Some products I really need to get rid of in here is this here by Laura Mercier. This is actually like a concealer duo. It's cracked. I haven't reached for this in literal years, so I'm pretty sure it's expired, so it has to go. If you are curious, I do have the shade SC3. It's good. I just don't reach for things like this often, so goodbye. I do have this cream and powder foundation duo by Patrick Ta here. I have not yet had the chance to play around with this. I did pick this up during the Sephora sale, so of course I'm gonna give myself some time to try and test this out before I completely decide what I wanna do with it. I also have this concealer in here by Huda Beauty. This is the Overachiever Concealer. I have the shade Cotton Candy. It is one of those concealers that has like those metal applicators to it. It looks really nice and cooling underneath the eyes. Honestly, it's been years since I pulled this out, so I have no idea how I feel about it. I also know it is expired, so unfortunately it does have to go. I do have a lot of these color correctors by e.l.f. and they are really, really nice underneath the eyes. I feel like if I was to keep one of the three, I would probably keep the light peach one here, and I'm just going to donate these because I just don't see myself using these on a day-to-day basis. I will use something like this because it is very light in color and it's very easy to cover up, but these here you have to work a little bit harder, and I can't say that I have a ton of time to do my makeup these days, so I'm just gonna keep the peach one. Speaking of color correctors, I also have these by NARS. These are the NARS Radiant Creamy Color Correctors, so it's the same exact formula as the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealers, just in color corrector form. I do have the lighter peach color, and then I have the darker peach color. I feel like if I was to reach for one over the other, it would be the lighter peach. So I'm gonna get rid of the darker peach, and the only reason I'm keeping the one from e.l.f. and NARS is for comparison purposes only. I will say I don't really love the overall packaging on this. If you look very closely, it is more of a brush wand. It's just very cheap looking. I also have the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in here. Do you guys remember when I used to be so obsessed with this concealer? This one is in the shade 1.5 Macadamia. I am not macadamia. I do not know why this is in here. I tried to use it a couple times to like carve out my eyebrows, but it's just like a little too dark, not working for me. But if I had my perfect shade, I would not mind reincorporating this into my day-to-day routine because I was like really obsessed with that concealer at one point in time. I have a couple more potted concealers in here. One is by Rem and the other one is by Too Faced. Honestly, I can't remember how I feel about the Too Faced one. It couldn't have been anything crazy because I still do have a ton of it left. So I'm gonna get rid of this one, but I'm gonna keep the one from Rem. I have the shade Light 7C. I do remember picking this up in more of a pink shade to act as a pink color corrector. So I'm gonna keep it and I'm gonna incorporate this in my day-to-day routine and give you guys my updated thoughts. That's the thing about having products that are like stuffed in your drawer. You get them, you put them in there, you forget about them, and then you have no idea how you felt about them. So that's kind of me. I'm like revisiting products and I'm like, wait, did I like that? Because I can't remember, and that is definitely a bad thing. I have 4 of these concealers by Dominique Cosmetics. 2 of which I was using as like a cream contour, but I'm not really doing that anymore. So I have these 2 to choose from. I will say she really did her thing with this concealer. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but she kind of came out with that metal applicator. This is so soothing underneath my eyes. It kind of makes me want to put this in my everyday makeup bag because even running it on the back of my hand, it feels incredible. I'm gonna actually keep both of these because I do want to see which one is my perfect shade and then I'll get rid of the other. I have the shade Almond Milk and I have the shade Oat Milk. Again, this is such a beautiful formula. It's very hydrating underneath my eyes, and for that reason I have to keep them. So I recently tried this out in a new at the drugstore video. This is the Maybelline Superstay Active Wear Concealer. This is a really pretty formula. It blended beautifully underneath my eyes, but the thing about it is that it is way too warm. This is a very yellow concealer, so I didn't find that it looked the best underneath my eyes, and for that reason I will be getting rid of it. Hopefully I can find a better shade in this formula because I did really like it. That's the thing about trying out drugstore products. Sometimes you get your shade right, sometimes you don't. It really is a guessing game sometimes, and unfortunately I just did not get my shade right. So I actually have 3 of the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealers in here. Ask me why, because I definitely did not need 3. I definitely want to swatch them just so that way you guys can see what the colors are. So here we have Cannelle, Vanilla, and Creme Brulee. Out of all 3, I'm gonna keep Creme Brulee and I'm gonna get rid of these 2. I have 2 more color correctors in here. I have this one here by Sigma. This is like a little duo. It definitely is a concealer that I feel like I really have to warm up with my fingertips in order to get it to really blend and emulsify underneath my eyes. So I'm gonna get rid of that. And another color corrector that I have here is by Ulla Henriksen. I will say when I put this underneath my eyes, it is very hydrating. It blends very easily. This is a fairly new pickup for me. I did pick this up during a Sephora sale, so I'm gonna keep this one around a little bit longer. I do have the Bye Bye Dark Spots Serum Concealer by IT Cosmetics. This is brand new. I have yet to try and test this out. I do have the shade Light Medium. You can definitely see it is a similar concept to the Quickie Concealer by Urban Decay. It has that little brush up there, and I'm not entirely sure how the formula is, so you guys are gonna have to stay tuned for me to test this out in a future video. Another concealer that I have in here is the Too Faced Born This Way Concealer, you guys. I was so obsessed with this concealer so long ago. This is a multi-use concealer. You can use it for cream contouring, highlighting, whatever you want. I did really reach for this for concealing underneath the eyes, but I have the shade Vanilla, and I'm not sure what I was thinking, but after swatching this, you guys, this is way too dark to be an under eye concealer. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I'm sorry, but that should not be going underneath my eyes. That is way too dark. So for that reason, it is leaving my makeup drawer. Like, it has to go. I also have this concealer in here by One Size. This is the Turn Up the Base Butter Silk Concealer. I have the shade Light 3N, but again, I feel like I got this way too dark for my under eye area. Like, that, it's just looking a little too dark. I really don't know what I was thinking. So for that reason, I'm gonna get rid of it, even though I pretty much used more than half of it. Another concealer that I have in here that I feel like is almost empty is this one here by Kosas. This is a pretty popular concealer. I have the shade 2.5C, and I feel like in comparison, this is just going to be a better under eye concealer for me personally. Like, this one is right up my alley. This one is just like pulling a little orange. We're gonna keep the one from Kosas and get rid of the one from One Size. Another concealer that I have in here is one by Sephora Collection. This is the Best Skin Ever Full Coverage Multi-Use Concealer. I do have the shade 13P, and this is a fairly new purchase for me. I'm gonna keep this one. I feel like this is like my perfect concealer shade. I also really love the formula. It definitely is reminiscent of like the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. It definitely is a full coverage concealer, but it never looks heavy or cakey or anything like that underneath my eyes. My under eye area still feels very much hydrated, and it looks very natural and pretty. So again, this is fairly new, so that is why I am keeping it. I honestly have a lot of concealers in here, so your girl don't need to be buying no more, okay? I also have this one in here by Lancome. This is the Tidal Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. I have the shade Buff N. I'm gonna swatch it right next to the one from Sephora Collection, and this one's really pretty too. You know what? I'm gonna keep them both. Listen, a girl can never have too many concealers. A concealer I'm gonna get rid of is this one here by MAC. This is the Pro Long Wear Concealer in the shade NC20. This is just not really my cup of tea. I don't really like the way that this looks underneath my eyes. So for that reason, I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm also gonna get rid of the Wonder Glow by Charlotte Tilbury, which I know some of you are probably quaking at home because this is such a beautiful product on the skin, but it is very much expired. I haven't reached for this in literally years. So that one has to go. Another one that has to go is this one here. This is the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I've had this since I want to say 2018, and this is in the shade medium. It is a little too dark for me personally. Here's the thing about products like this, wands like this, when you have them for so long, they grow bacteria, and I'm pretty sure this is like very much contaminated over the years from when I had cystic acne and all of that. So definitely swap out your products. Don't keep things that are too expired, because let me tell you, your girl has learned her lesson. I do have a little mini of the Hollywood Flawless Filter, which is a fairly new purchase. This one is in the shade 3 Fair, which I do find to be a better match for me personally. Again, this is a fairly new purchase, so I'm gonna keep this one around a little while longer. I'm also gonna keep this here by Rare Beauty. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like when I tried it out, it was really pretty. The packaging is very reminiscent of the Dominique Cosmetics concealer. I just don't find that this really gives that much coverage, if we're being honest, but I do want to play around with it a little bit more, put it over top of concealer, underneath concealer, and if it doesn't work out for me, I'll just end up getting rid of it. Some concealers I'm gonna get rid of is the Instant Age Rewind Concealer by Maybelline. I haven't used this in a while. It still is a very good option, but I just don't find that I reach for concealers quite like this anymore. I don't know why I have it in here. I also have some Revlon concealers. These are the 5-in-1 concealers. This one is brand new. This one I did try to use for contouring, but it is way too warm. So I'm gonna get rid of the darker one, and I'm just gonna gift this one here because I already have so many concealers in my collection. I do have the Saint Laurent Touche Éclat Radiant Touch concealers. I have a couple shades here, so I definitely want to swatch them. This one here is in the shade 2.5 Nude. I find that this is a decent match for me personally, but then I also have this one here. This one is in the shade 3, and you would definitely see this one's almost like a peach color. So I'm gonna get rid of 3, and I'm gonna keep the shade 2.5. The last and final product I have in here is by Jaclyn Cosmetics. This is the Jaclyn Cosmetics Hydrating Under Eye Primer. I will say, anytime I use this, I really just did not see the biggest difference. The packaging is almost identical to the Huda Beauty Concealer package now that I look at it. But again, it really didn't do much for my under eye area. So for that reason, I'm just going to completely get rid of it. So that is pretty much it for my foundation and concealer declutter. These are all the products I'm getting rid of, and these are the products that I am keeping. I definitely feel like I put a pretty big dent on this drawer. I got rid of a lot of products, but I also kept a good amount of products to add into my everyday makeup rotation. You guys know this is what I do for a living. I sit down, review makeup, so I do need an excess of product, but I didn't want too much to the point where I didn't even know what I had. I definitely feel like this makes for more of a curated makeup collection, so let me know your thoughts and let me know what you guys want me to declutter next. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces.